was that the CDC predicts another over 200, I'll put it this way, over 200,000 people, additional deaths will occur before October 10th. So obviously, any planning that the principals and I are doing would definitely take that into account. But just like everybody, we want to see our kids face to face as soon as possible, but taking into consideration the reality of COVID-19. But we're still going to put plans together that we will have prepared that coincide with our planning earlier in the year in terms of the health and safety of our people and our students. So we'll see what happens, but we're going to move forward. And I also want to let you know, and I'll mention this in the board meeting too, that I met with our non-high school superintendents today, and I recommended that we all come together on Friday, the 25th of September, so that we can all be consistent in the manner that we bring our students back to school. So that we're all on the same page and we're not pitting one district against the other, that we're all going to be developing a comprehensive plan that will impact actually the entire county. And we had the superintendent from North Mason at the meeting today, and she will be there on the 25th, on Friday, the 25th of September. So we are moving forward in preparation in a very realistic and cautious manner to bring back our students, and starting probably with our K2.
On the statewide school board call today, they mentioned the change in being able to count enrollment.
Right.
And they were saying typically you count enrollment within the first 4 days of starting school. But what they're looking at, it sounded like, was extending that through September, like Brenda said, but it would be any 2 times that a student made contact with the school. I mean,
Yeah,
that sounds very different than what.
Well, September 23rd is what they extended it to. And in my meeting with other superintendents and Dana Anderson, he indicated that many school districts are not meeting their projected enrollment.
Yes, they were talking about that on
It's really it's becoming very difficult.
Yes, because
We're
of
very
connectivity
fortunate, quite
or
frankly, that we've hit our target, at least at this point in time. But he said that many school districts are not meeting their projected enrollment. And that's, of course, very worrisome. And so that's why you heard what you heard today, Carrie. I think they're looking at ways that would maybe help districts, including us, in our counting of students. So yeah, it's
yeah, that's
very
what that
difficult.
sounded like. They also talked about, I wanted to mention a couple of things around coming back to school. The decision tree from the state of Washington that I've sent out to everybody, they were talking about how those threshold numbers are not going to change. And currently we're in a moderate level, but they are looking at the guidelines, and those we may see some tweaks to that in the next coming weeks too.
Right.
I don't know necessarily what that means. If that means they're going to loosen up on some of things or make them more,
Yeah.
I don't know what that means. So I don't want to jump to any conclusions on that. But they also did talk about labor and industry coming up with specifics on PPE that would be needed at each school too. So it sounds like they were saying that they realize schools are looking at coming back with students, and they're trying to firm up and tighten up what some of these guidelines are going to be that will help with these.
Exactly.
And then I also did send, because I found the information very useful on the tacomaschools.org website. They, well, actually, it wasn't their school. It was their Pierce County Health Department website, lists specifically the key markers for returning to school based on the decision tree and other things. And I sent that information to our health department director, and they said he looks at that data daily, and he's got that, and he said they're going to try to come up with something similar for that too. So that would be public information that you would consistently see. based on the health of our specific community, where we're at, and why some of these decisions can be made, or maybe if they need to be pulled back, depending on where we're at.
Right.
So I wanted to mention that.
And as we put, Carrie, as we put our plan together, a very important piece of the plan will be to work closely with our unions so that they are a part of everything that we're talking about, because it involves bringing staff, of course, back into the schools, and we would need to take all of that into account. So thank you.
I have an enrollment question for Brenda. What was our enrollment number when we just rolled up all the data that we had? What was the expectation? Seems to me it was over 1,600.
Actually, when you roll, at the high school alone.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, that would be the high
Okay,
school.
sorry.
The question to be
I was
district-wide.
like looking at my big number. The high school, when I rolled that up, was 1,575.
Okay, and district-wide?
District-wide, if you do just a straight roll up, it was 4,553.
Okay, all righty. All righty, thank you. Any other questions, or are we finished with secretary contract update, or are we still?
Well, are there any questions about that? The only thing I would add on the secretary's contract, what this is doing, it's buying us time too, to take a look at, where do we go after the extended period of time? And we're going to spend time with the unions, of course, and with our staff to see, to take a look at job sharing possibilities to extend that support beyond the 30 days that we've initiated currently. So secretaries, a school without secretaries, folks, it's pretty tough to function. And so we're really going to spend a lot of time taking a look at what we can do to continue that very vital support.
And it doesn't obligate the district to an entire year of salaries and benefits. It's just literally those 30 days. And I know
Yes.
that's hard on those people, because you can't plan very far out when you don't know for sure what your long-term employment is going to look like. But it certainly gives us some breathing room, gives everybody breathing room to see where numbers are going to settle out, especially where we are hearing so many other districts not making their enrollment.
Yeah.
So have some of our secretaries been working?
They're
Yes.
all still working.
Yeah, their contract goes to the 28th of September. So they've been on the job just normally, doing what they do. And
And they're in the buildings?
yes,
Okay. I've just gotten phone calls about not being able to get through to talk to anybody at the schools.
well, that might be the case in various instances, but overall, I think our enrollment figures justify the fact that we want our secretaries to be in the building, to help parents, to help students. Have we been 100%? Probably not, but I know they're trying very hard.
And is this number of secretaries excluding any layoffs? In other words, all secretaries are working.
Yes,
Yes,
So in effect, there's no layoffs in the secretaries
that's correct.
because they're currently working to handle the load.
Right.
Okay, thank you for that clarification.
okay. Brenda, do you want to talk? I know you're going to mention this in the board meeting, but can you talk a little bit about, I think right now, and it could change a little based on the high school enrollment. We need to check that again. But we were basically about 59 over are 4125. Is that correct?
As of last night, I had everybody's enrollment in hand except the high school. And they were going to send it down today. So I'm going to go look, see if I have it tonight. But the total with what they were telling me last night was 4,181.87 because we're converting to the FTE. And so that is putting us 56.87 of that budget right now.
Above
So,
projection.
right. So what can happen? They posted the enrollment handbook today. So now they're telling us how to do our enrollment after we've done it. But so the extension they gave us, the student has to be registered on the 4th day of September, but they can connect to K-12 by September 30th or some other method of contact with a teacher. So what's probably going to happen in most buildings, I know the high school is trying to grab as many as they can on this first one. The other buildings will probably do a revision on enrollment and we'll go back and correct it when we file the October enrollment is what I'm anticipating to happen.
I think it's going to be helpful. I
think it'll help get our numbers up because I know they typically what happens on that 4th day, you drop the kids you haven't made contact or when you're on a face-to-face, seeing the white of their eyes is what we tell them. So I know the buildings followed that procedure. So now it's a matter of going back and capturing those kids and trying to get them connected still by September 30th. So that's why we need our secretaries in their places. So
it's kind of all hands on deck to make that happen. And that's what's been taking place in our schools. And the fact that we're going to extend it out 30 days and figure out how we can keep our secretaries working in this very difficult period of time, I think it's going to be very important.
yeah, so what I'm seeing, I don't know if the elementaries are lower than what we anticipated. Mountain View is pretty right on target, but Evergreen and Bordeaux are lower than what we were believing they were going to be. OMS is actually, she's about 46 above what we budgeted for her. So they're doing really good at OMS. Oakland Bay is a little bit above their budget too. And high school actually is coming in a little bit above budget. So the elementaries are where we're struggling to get our enrollment up. So,
and that's why any plan to bring our students back, we would start with the young children. And maybe that would be very helpful to our parents and to our families who are being challenged with having their kids at home. We understand that. And that's where we're spending our time right now, just starting out with the younger children, see what we can do to bring them back. And if everything stays pretty even here in terms of what Carrie was mentioning, we might be able to do that. And that's our desire, to make that happen. But overall, I just think it's very important for the board to know that I've reached out to our non-high districts and basically said we need to have a plan that's all encompassing so that we are moving together in bringing our kids back. So,
are any of the non-high districts or surrounding school districts doing a hybrid right now?
Not that I know of. What they're doing is what we're doing. We're trying to deal with students that are experiencing special circumstances and with families that are experiencing special circumstances. We are doing that now, and we're going to be doing more of that.
Yeah, so, I asked just because that OSPI map that lists what school districts are doing had Hood Canal as hybrid and Merriam Knight as hybrid. And I didn't know if they actually had moved forward with that or not.
I don't think so.
Yeah, I don't think so either.
Okay. That's what I had seen on the OSPI dashboard of all of the different counties. If you click on Mason County, it does show Shelton as online and North Mason is online, but it was listing that I recall off the top of my head, Hood Canal and Merriam Knight as hybrid.
I think they were heading that way, Carrie, but I think that changed midstream. They were having some discussions with their board, but I believe
Okay.
that they're also involved in online learning.
Now if we even begin with, a hybrid situation with our younger elementary age kids and our partner school districts do that as well too, don't we share busing in some circumstances?
Well, busing is definitely going to be an issue as we begin to implement something like this. But Brenda, maybe you can answer what Carrie is asking.
So typically on the elementaries, those buses are their own buses doing those. It's when we get into the high school transportation that we start overlapping. Yeah,
Okay, so that wouldn't be, it wouldn't be a cross issue then
it
with these.
shouldn't. Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Are there any more questions on the secretary's contract or enrollment or revenue, anything on that? You'll be hearing more about those things, especially enrollment and revenue at the school board meeting.
I'd like a clarification. So are we providing some services for some students currently on campuses?
Yes, we are.
I believe it's going to ramp up a little bit this next week. I know Holly's been creating some bus routes for small groups. So
That's going to increase as we move forward too, Sally. When there is student need, we made a commitment to the community that we were going to do something to help them, and that's what we're doing. OMS is really moving forward on what they're doing for kids, for families that are in special circumstances, and the rest of our schools are following that.
I believe that's what Hood Canal is doing as well.
Yeah, and we've reached out to the Skokomish and the Squaxin to determine what they need right now in terms of anything we can do in regards to technology or any special support that the students there would need. I know that Jenny has a meeting on Monday with representatives from the Skokomish tribe, and she's also contacted Gordon to see what the Squaxin group would need in terms of support. So we're reaching out to as many people as we can because there is a need for support, and we're doing the very best that we can do.
Thank you.
You bet. Well, anything else on those two issues? And the only issue we have left, unless the board has a few other things they want to discuss, is the audit report, the exit audit report that's going to be presented at the board meeting on Tuesday. And Brenda, maybe you can give us kind of an overview, a quick overview of that.
So the state auditor, I worked with Cheryl Friesen, and then her supervisor, Carol Ellinger, will be on the Zoom session with us and do the presentation of the exit conference. And again, no audit findings in our audit this year. And so they looked at our accountability, our financial, and then our federal grant compliance, and all areas were clean. So it was good news for Shelton School District.
And having gone through many of these, I can tell you sometimes it's very easy to make a mistake, very easy, and to not have any findings. I'm very happy about that. And it's great work on Brenda's part and her team of people, and her team of people is shriveling. So most of the responsibility in terms of the technical aspects of her work is being done by Brenda. So I know that for a fact.
Yeah, I'd like to give credit to, especially in the federal portions of that audit, to the program directors. Jenny Lafreniere and Deanna Reeve in special ed, that's critical. They keep us clean over there. And then Kelly and Jean Fairbrother on the Title I side, that was critical. And they are great at their jobs, and that makes my life much easier. So.
And I might mention those are the two positions that we cut have a role to play in all of that. And we've been operating with 2 less people, which is something we'll talk about at another time, but the load is heavy.
Well, and with that, whenever you have changeover like that, loss of people, the potential to lose track or, drop a ball or have something fall through the crack increases. And so it's, kudos to the staff for not having things fall through the crack and for maintaining the level of vigilance that's required to have a clean audit. So
Thank
And
you.
on that note, Sandy, too, a lot of people don't know the behind the scene piece. So when you do have change in staffing, that's part of what I have to do a big report for the auditor for every single change in staffing that touches this audit. I have to report that to them right at the beginning of the audit. So
Well,
have
those
they-
were the 3. Are there any questions on the audit at all?
I was just going to ask, have they announced what next year's programs will be for audit?
no, they usually tell me when they arrive. So I have no warning of what they're going to look at. So you have to make sure it is all done right. So
Okay. Thank you.
That's our standard.
Yep.
Yeah.
Do it
So
right.
I just want to say thank you to everybody who has worked hard on that to have an audit with no findings. I did want to go back to enrollment if I could, because I was remembering after we went past it, the statewide school board calls that are every Thursday do bring some beneficial information, hearing from other schools. And there was a school board member from Bellevue that was talking about how we were being asked questions by WASDA about how our schools are keeping track of enrollment. Most are just having the teachers take enrollment and put it in Skyward. It sounded like some use, some type of program. But they were also, the Bellevue School District specifically was saying they're taking enrollment, but then they're also getting a gauge of what level of engagement students are having while they're in classes. And then also specifically reaching out to families through surveys that they said they wanted to continue doing even past this process, because they were feeling like they were getting parent feedback on just, again, is your child logging in? What are the issues that they're having? They're proactively reaching out to find out, what the level of engagement is when it comes to enrollment.
I have mentioned, we sent out numerous surveys, as you know, and I've talked with Katie about putting together something to just dipstick with our families to determine, well, how are we doing? How are we doing in comparison to the last spring? What are some issues that are still apparent that need to be adjusted or worked on? So that's consistent with our direction. I think it's very important to do that. And I think something else too that I should mention along those lines, we've established open forums every month except for November. And we can adjust the agenda to focus in on just what you mentioned, Carrie, and publicize that in advance so that parents can be involved in that open forum and give us information in terms of how things are going. But we're just going to keep having the open forums, and hopefully we'll be able to, through that process, improve our delivery system regardless of what it might be, whether it's online and face-to-face, a hybrid model, because we're going to go through change again here shortly. And we'll have to adjust to that.
No, I agree. I was very appreciative of Tim Garcha, the director, who was reiterating that, of course, there's many school districts now that are going to be planning for a hybrid situation or some kind of face-to-face, whether that's small groups or, just getting some grades back in. And he was just, saying how much he appreciates families And I felt the same way when I was listening to him say that, and just appreciating our students and our families for hanging in there with us during this pandemic, during a time that nobody wants the learning to be like this. You know, I can say, because I'm living it, you know, as a parent, it's stressful. I know it's not ideal for, you know, even the best of students. And a lot of people feel like they're very stressed to the point of a breaking point, but it's, you know, being thankful that people are hanging in there with us while we try to work out these plans and fit through these guidelines of getting people back to the goal of being face to face. You know, there is a missing emotional connection for, you know, kids. They don't get the immediate praise from their teacher. They don't get the kudos that they normally would get when they're at home with a screen. And so there are, you know, this is a struggle right now, and I want to acknowledge that families are going through that, you know, and I want them to know that we are working really hard within our guidelines to try to get to a better spot of learning for them. This is not ideal, and it's not what anybody wants. And we're, you know, we are going to try very hard to make the learning better.
You know, I mentioned that it was on the iFiber radio show that I was very grateful because I knew what the enrollment was. I think it was last Friday's broadcast. I said, you know, it's wonderful that our parents and families value our school district and are sticking with us through thick and thin. And it's a testimony to our families, to our community, and to our school district that, you know, we've exceeded the projected enrollment. And I have great appreciation for families. They're struggling, but they're still sticking with us. And that's why I'm hoping that the virus improves, along with our planning to bring our younger children back to school in a safe fashion. I think it's great to be in the place we're in right now, because it could be, it might. Kelly Neely doesn't give up, but I can't talk to her right now. Anyway, I'm very, very happy and appreciative of our community and our kids and everybody, our teachers. I mean, it's not easy for them every day. I mean, this is new, and they're continuing to move forward. They're learning. They're taking advantage of learning opportunities so that they can do the very best for our kids. So we've got a long road ahead, but I really believe that we're going to be fine. I really do. I think things are going to get better.
Any other questions or comments from board members on any of the topics? Anybody want to go back to anything?
So can I just say, since we weren't on YouTube Live, can I just speak that we have not laid off the secretaries and we have extended it out to October 30th. So everyone hears that message. So
Yeah. And
very good. Thank you.
They're very essential to everything that we're doing. And that's the reason why we had to extend the contract, and we're looking at ways to keep them going beyond the 30-day extension. That's all we have. And I don't know, Sandy, if you wanted to reiterate our schedule of meetings from this point on, how you want to handle that.
Our schedule of meetings for
Our study sessions, our budget study session meetings.
We had discussed with each of the board members, and we think maybe the next step would be kind of to have the study sessions in the week between board meetings, so that if something comes up, we don't have to wait 2 or maybe even 3 weeks to discuss it. It'll give us something in the middle. So if people can just kind of hold that open for a little while, if things slow down, you know, if the number of changes slows down, we can eliminate the Thursday meeting and just have a study session before a school board meeting, if everybody's available, you know, say at 4:30 on the night of a school board. But for the next couple of weeks, let's see how it works to alternate study session 1 week, board meeting 1 week. Is that what everybody understood? Okay. All righty, just want to make sure I was relaying it properly. So, okay.
So the next budget study session would be
October 1st.
October 1st. Yeah. Unless you or together we determine, hey, we need to come together here
Right.
earlier.
And we will have the community forum on September 29th.
Correct?
And that'll be, an open format. That's not a school board meeting. So that's more, less formal, more of a Q&A for the public. And we're likely to have enough board members there that we do want to make sure we do publicly announce that, just in case we do have quorum of board members, even though we're not taking any action or maybe just listening. So,
Sure. And,
Okay.
and, based on our approach for this next board meeting, we can take some of the information that we're going to communicate on Tuesday and move that for deeper discussion and comment at the 29th of September open forum. So
Yes.
we just, we want to go deep on the issues, and I really appreciated our agenda setting meeting yesterday afternoon. We kind of changed direction from focusing on the school improvement plans from each building to really getting down to the things that all of us are hearing about in the community. And like I mentioned to Lynn and Sandy, we put the elephant in the room right on the table. And I think that's going to be helpful. I really do. And
Yeah, we
thank
made
you
a
to Lynn
commitment. We
and to
told the
Sandy for doing
community.
that.
Yeah, we told the community that we were all in this together. We'd work on it together. And so, we need to spend some time hearing about what are the concerns, where are the issues, and how do we move forward?
I had a meeting today with cabinet at 9 o'clock, and they were all there ready to go. And I explained to them that we were going to go a different direction with our board meeting, and they were very anxious in a very positive way to have a conversation about the various issues that we are going to put forth. But they're ready to go, and so am I. So it'll be a great meeting.
Very good. Thank you very much. If there's nothing else, we can go ahead and adjourn. Last call for questions or comments. Okay, being a study
Thank you
session,
very much.
don't need an adjournment. So thank you.